I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about how to live alone with help. So this week we look at one final option. Okay, it's probably not the last possible option available. However, it is the last one we'll look at in this series. The option is supported independent living. Now this is one option that I hadn't heard of until a few years ago when I started looking into all the transitions open to AJ because he was an adult. I discovered an organization here in town that focuses specifically on assisting individuals with getting into independent living situations. Then they put the necessary supports in place to successfully live independently. Pretty cool concept. Now, as I dug around to find out more about this topic, I discovered it's a whole movement. It's also a network of organizations that all focus on helping disabled individuals live independently. And it's a lot more than just housing assistance. It's a whole life assistance to live as independently as possible. This movement began when there was a shift away from institutional living. Quote, centers for independent living were created to be run by and for people with disabilities and offer support, advocacy, and information on empowerment in the attainment of independence from a peer viewpoint, a perspective that was hitherto excluded from participation in the discussion, end quote. That was quoted from the National Council on Independent Living's website. You can find a link for it over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This is from May of 2021. Now, as such, these centers focus on providing assistance in the following areas: peer support, information and referral, individual and systems advocacy, independent living skills training, and transition. And again, I got that quote from the National Centers on Independent Living. There's a link on the blog. Now, I really like that these centers are, quote, run by and for people with disabilities, end quote. Again, that's a quote that I've quoted above. That means that everyone you interact with understands what living with a disability is like because they're living a similar life. Now, I don't remember what all I was told when I first discovered our local Center for Independent Living. What stood out to me was that they could help get AJ into his own apartment. Then, they help coordinate the supports he needs to live there successfully. At the time, I was specifically looking at meals and transportation. Now, looking at the options they offer today, I realized the supports they offer are much broader than that. Now, like other centers across the country, our local center offers input and support in all the areas that I listed above. It's kind of mind-blowing. So how does this apply to you? Well, if your loved one is high-functioning and can almost live on their own, this might be the right solution for you. Obviously, you'll have to check out your local center and see what supports are available in your area. I'm sure they vary from area to area. Also realize that it's very likely that there's a waiting list or a waiting period before services can be provided, at least for some things like housing. Now, I recommend looking into and applying before you have an immediate need, if at all possible. Even just checking into various options and finding out what the waiting periods are can help you better plan for your loved one. Also, ask lots of questions. Find out what all available resources include, how to access them, and what their waiting periods are. Again, the better informed, the better prepared. Also, keep an open mind. Being open to new or previously unknown options allows you to consider something that may end up being the best option for your loved one. And finally, this might be a stretch, but I believe that ultimately we want our loved ones to be able to function as independently as possible away from us. To this end, if they are able to live in their own place with a few supports, this option may give them that kind of independence. So my question for you this week is this: have you given any thought to this kind of option for your loved one? Have you looked into it already? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This is from May of 2021. I'm contemplating just how independently AJ can live so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.